Hey everyone, so before I did a review on these, I guess they're nylon or some sort of, maybe they're Kevlar laces, and they work fine, I guess. They haven't worked loose or anything like that. The only problem I really have with this design that looks like this knob here, let me focus on that, is it doesn't want to stay on the tongue very well. You know, it very often gets caught up in the shoelace and stuff like that. So I thought I'd try the version that you can buy online with the metal laces. And if you watch the earlier part, I just went ahead and did it. But I actually clipped off some of the wire. So I wanted to do a narrated version here. These instructions are so small, it's kind of hard to figure out some of it. I have to look back at these images several times. So I'm going to go through this one now with narration. So first you got to lace up your shoes, of course, with these metal coated wires. I do the under method. I don't think it really matters. So let me come back when that's done. Alright, so I actually messed this up, but I was able to take it apart, which is a nice thing. So now that I messed up, I'll show you how to do this properly. So I have it laced, of course, as evenly as possible, you know, having these two ends meet at the same point. And then I used the tongue thing. You don't want to lace all the way up. You notice I laced one hole down. And at this point, you want to actually cross over onto the base plate, these two laces. So crossing over, meaning I'm actually going to go through the bottom of this on the far side hole here. And then take the other one, go through the bottom upwards. Okay. Get that out of there. Now I'm going to go through the other hole of the shoe, or the last hole of the shoe, like this. And this one goes to the other shoe hole. Maybe when both of them are on, it'll make a little more sense. Alright, so you'll see it's crossing over, and that's going to help keep this base plate kind of on the shoe instead of this one that's just kind of dangling around all over the place. The adhesive just doesn't work, it breaks loose all afterwards. Okay, so now that this is sitting here, we're going to work with the other mechanism. So I'm actually going to turn the shoe around, and now we have to go through the winding mechanism. Oop. The winding mechanism has a tongue for the front towards the toes, and then these are the two holes for the wires to come through. And they're actually going to come through the top down. So this is the top with the star through there, that hole there, right, like this. And then this left one goes through this left hole here. My cable is already bent because I did this once and I took it apart. Okay, so now that that is done, yes, kind of hard to. All right, hopefully that'll stay in place. Maybe I'll just jam it under the tongue. Okay, so now we gotta basically lock these two ends around the cog wheel here. So in this wheel, hopefully you can see there's inner holes towards the center and then outer holes. We want to go through the inner holes first. So I'm gonna feed this thing here through this inner hole. If I can see it, where is it? I think I did the wrong side. Hold on. This pin is going to go up into that white hole, so you kind of want to hold it this way. So I think I want to do this. Alright. And on this side I want to go through this hole here. I'll show you in a sec once it's through. Okay, so you can see, you know, it's all on the same side and stuff. And you can see I'm going through the inner holes. The outer holes I haven't been used yet. So now I'm going to just work on the right side. I'm going to take the extra length here and I'm going to go over the yellow part and back through now the outer hole, like this. And same with this. It's a lot easier if you take up the slack and use that slack to bend the metal wire into that hole. Okay. Now, if you tighten it like this, you're not going to have as much tongue opening, and it'll be harder to put the shoe on. So what I suggest you do is you back out this wire, pull it a little longer, back it out, pull it out, right? And that way you're using the full length of the steel wire to allow the shoe to be as open as possible when it's not locked. On the previous part I actually just clipped this off and that worked. The shoe worked fine. But if you have really big shoes, maybe you don't want to because you might not have the extra slack that you need. Alright, so again I'm basically pushing that wire so it doesn't pass the yellow ring like that. It won't get caught up on the black thing that this thing's going to get pushed into. Alright, so something like that. So you can see there's a little bit of slack and stuff, but it's not exceeding the circle of the yellow. Alright, so there, that's done. Alright, so now you can see, I can just now flip this thing into this thing here, pop that in. You do want to make sure that you don't pinch the wire with the yellow on top of the black edges here. So you want to make sure this wire is in this groove right here and that groove right there. That way this yellow is pretty much flush with the black. Okay, so now this little tongue here goes towards the toes, which now pops into that hole of that base plate. So that, and then it's just going to snap around that back thing there, and there we go. So now we can wind that thing tight, and if you pull it, it loosens it, right? So you can obviously put your shoes on and off. So let me reposition. So there's the old system there with a massive amount of slack, and it's nylon or fabric shoelaces, whereas this metal one here, using the full thing, doesn't have as much slack, but still has plenty of slack to get your shoes on and off, as you can see. So clicking in. Alright, so yeah, that's a tight shoe. There you go. Sorry for all the scars. Whereas this one, you could, I don't know if you can open this one. I tried to open one before and I wasn't able to. So there's too much slack, it takes a long time. But again, the main complaint for this is this thing, it just wobbles around. Sometimes it gets stuck underneath the laces as I'm trying to put it on. So literally I'll just be walking around with this thing like that. Whereas I think with the metal cables kind of crossing over this base plate, I think it'll be easier in the long run to use this metal stuff. Alright. So anyways, I think both of them are okay, but I'm kind of thinking if I had to buy only one of these today, I'd buy the ones that have the metal, or in particular this one that has like this 5-pointed star thing instead of this like circular logo. Hopefully that helped you out. I bought these off Aliexpress. I have no affiliation, so buy this stuff wherever you can for as cheap as possible. Alright, thanks for watching. See you in the next random review.